Hey everyone, welcome to The Zest, the official podcast of Orange Coast Magazine. I'm Chelsea Ranieri, and today's guest is the founder and shaper of the surfboard brand Surf Prescriptions in Huntington Beach, which also has shops in Brazil, South Africa, Israel, Ireland, and Japan. Thank you so much for being here today, Jeff Doc Lausch.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. So for our listeners, I'm friends with your daughter, Rachel, who initially connected us. So I've been so excited to get to talk with you and hear more about your story.
All right, cool. Let's do this.
Yeah. So you grew up in Fountain Valley. Do you remember when you first got into surfing?
Yeah. Well, we came up from San Diego, and my parents moved into Fountain Valley when I started the second grade. So yeah, pretty much grew up in Fountain Valley, and I tried to start surfing. I don't know, around 10 or so. But the board was so big and no good wetsuits, and couldn't afford it. The board weighed more than me, and I didn't really jibe. So I didn't really start until probably 12, and that's when I went. That's when I went all in. I had an older brother who surfed who got me into it.
Oh, nice. Do you remember what your first board that you loved was?
Well, funny. My very first board, it was right at the shortboard revolution was just starting, and boards went from like 9.6 or 9, at least 9 feet down to 7 feet or 8 feet anyways. And those big logs were basically they were almost giving them away. So my parents bought me one for like $25 or something. That probably weighed more than me. And then it's kind of funny. My brother and my dad said, because it was all blue. It was blue pigment, and it weighed a ton. And they told me, if you get the sander and sand all this blue off, the board will be light and you'll be able to carry it. And I'm all, whoa, okay, I'll do that. And so my dad would rent a vibrator sander every weekend and buy me a 5 sheets of sandpaper, and I'd just sit on the thing all day long on these horses in the driveway, trying to sand it off. And I don't know, they created a monster because I could do stuff with my hands. And then it finally got off, and then, the board was still weighed a ton, but I don't know. It was a cool thing for me to know that if I can do that, I could probably do some other stuff on a surfboard.
Yeah. And I read that you shaped your first board at 15. Was that the board that you shaped, or?
Oh, no. This was probably when I was 10 or 11.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, and then I started, my brother worked at a surfboard factory, Plastic Fantastic in Huntington, and he was the cleanup kid, and he was watching them glass. And so he set up this glassing thing in my parents' garage. He'd get shapers to shape him boards, and he kind of taught himself to glass. And I was just in there watching him. And then one day, this crazy story, I had this girlfriend in high school, and we went to visit her dad. They were divorced or whatever, and we went to visit her dad, and it was all high grass in the backyard, and there was this surfboard back there. And he goes, "Oh, you kid, you want that board? You could have it." And I went back there and looked at it, and it was like a brand new, probably ridden one time Weber Performer longboard. That thing would be worth a mint today. But my older brother saw that board, and and he wasn't very good on the new shorter boards anyway. So he saw, "Hey, I'll trade you this planer, this Skill 100 planer," which is the planer. I mean, I still use it today.
Oh, wow.
People still use Skill 100 planers today. And he goes, "I'll trade you the planer for the log." And I'm all, okay, done. And so I had this planer, and I'm all, okay, I'm going to try to shape a board. And I just went for it.
Did you have any kind of idea of how to go into that, or did you kind of just go?
Hardly. No. I just bought a blank, and then he brought some templates, which are I don't know. Everyone knows what a template is, I think. From the Plastic Fantastic. He goes, "Oh, I got these they were upstairs. I don't know whose they are. What here you could use them." And so I just mapped out the board and cut it out and just went for it. And the first one kind of worked.
Really?
And then, it kind of worked. The first one, I kind of had beginner's luck, I guess, and it kind of worked. And then I tried to make myself another one, and it wasn't as good. And then what I would do at that time is I would buy a blank and I would go to like the good local shapers,
Mhm.
and I would take the blank to the local shaper and say, "Hey, I'll pay you to shape this board for me. But I just want to watch." And some guys were cool
Smart.
and said, "Oh yeah, come on in. That's cool." And then other guys were like, "Okay, stand in the corner. If you say anything, if you even
Oh,
talk, I'm going to stop." And other guys said, "Beat it, kid." So,
dang.
so
That's so
a couple
mean.
guys were cool, and then I would, yeah. I mean, this was early times, and people, it was no PC going on back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
This was like, early 70s,
Oh,
late
okay.
70, like 1970.
Uh-huh.
And so I just I learned, and I go glass that board and ride it, and then I would try another one, and then I would just kept doing them like that, and I'd learn a little bit from each different shaper. That sort of helped me a lot, actually.
Wow. And then I also read that Shawn Stussy, who we all know the brand Stussy, was one of your mentors. How did that relationship come about?
Yeah, he was funny. He was one of the guys that I went to get a shape from.
Oh, okay.
And I watched him, and he was cool. He kind of taught me and stuff. This was back in the day, and this was when he shaped in his parents' garage in like Garden Grove. He had a shaping room in his parents' garage, but he was already kind of a guy.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think he could shape. I think he couldn't shape a board for someone at his other shaping room. Yeah, he had to do it at his place. So, anyways, I drove out there, and he was cool. And then I just kept doing it. And then, like, I don't know, much later on, he saw me somewhere and knew that I'd been shaping and knew that I'd been making boards, and like actually had this was a long time since he did that shape for me. I
Uh-huh.
did a lot of boards until I saw him, and he was like, "Oh, I need a guy," because he was starting to shift from doing boards to clothes. So he needed someone to shape for him. And he goes, "Oh, you might be good. You want to try some?" And I'm, heck yeah. And so, yeah, I learned a lot from him.
Dang. So you
And
were the original Stussy surfboards, or more almost like when they're brand.
black,
Yeah.
black, that was the back shaper, the
Yeah.
ghost shaper.
That's
They're
so
called
cool.
ghost shapers. I would go shape for him. Yeah.
Nice.
He might have probably had other guys before me and even after me, but
Mm.
I was one of his ghosts. I was a Stussy ghost.
So how did you get the nickname Doc?
Okay, around early 70s, or actually not early 70s, more like late 70s, when I'm full on doing my brand. My older brother started the brand in the garage,
Mhm.
and he was Freedom. So I was making Freedom boards, and he was sort of over it. And by that time, I was all, okay, I'll just be Freedom, and did these boards in my parents' garage. And then I'm just a hippie, 70s, doing my thing, long hair and one of those dust masks. And my little brother's friend, um, he was like an OG punk rocker. I mean, punk rock was London, New York, and HB. And this kid was so all about it. And he would give everyone punk rock nicknames. And he called himself Rex Collision. That
Uh-huh.
was his personal nickname. And he decided I was going to be Dr. Mad because of the mask and the hair.
Yeah.
And I'm all like, I'm not into that. Stop calling me that. And I was just throwing gasoline on the fire, because the more he knew that I didn't like it, the more he got fired up.
As it goes.
So yeah, I couldn't get away from it. And everyone started calling me, "Okay, Dr. Mad," and it was just like, shit, whatever. And then so I just, I go, wait, yeah, I started to roll with it. And then when I got my first factory, it was like it was like 1982, and like Freedom was so out. I mean, Anarchy might have been a better name. Freedom was so out, and I was like, well, what am I going to be? And I'm already Dr. Mad. So, and then I myself like, okay, well, I'll just do Surf Prescriptions by Doc. And so that's the whole story.
I
And
love that. That's I'm sorry, what you're saying?
everyone still calls me Doc.
Yeah, yeah. I love how that all comes together. That's such a creative, like tongue-in-cheek way to name your company. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's been good, and I think that yeah, I mean, it still resonates today.
Yeah. So
I tell people, like, let me fill your prescription, and that's what
yeah,
I do.
that's so
Your
cool.
surf prescription.
Yeah. So innovation is a large part of your brand's identity. For listeners who don't know much about surfing, can you share a bit about what makes your boards unique and innovative?
Um, I've always been, I don't know, a fan of try something new, new material, new shape, mixing old with new, and coming up. I mean, that's what we do. That's what all the that's what all the innovation
Hmm.
is something that something that's we put things together.
Hmm.
Like there's not really, I mean, there might be some brand new material or something, but basically the designs, we take a little bit of this one and a little bit of that one and mix it together and make. It's probably a lot like cooking or being a great chef, like
Yeah.
they don't invent something new, but they actually do, because they take three ingredients, put them together, and boom, they got something good. Like
Yeah.
one of my models is called the Spanish omelet. And the Spanish omelet, which is kind of funny because I made it while I was shaping in Spain. It was an idea. And then this guy came to me, hey, I want you to do this board single concave to V. And like, I want it to be sort of like a groveler, but still be able to handle some juice. And I'm like, oh, I've been thinking about doing that. And so I did that design. And then like, it ended up being a good design that was going to be a model. And it's like, okay, what do I call it? Oh, perfect. I mean, I'm in Spain. It's a Spanish omelet. And I don't know if you know, Spanish omelet has a bunch of ingredients, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
it had a bunch of ingredients. It was made in Spain, and that's on my website. It's one of my models.
So tell me a bit about varial foam and like what that is and the role that you played in getting it off the ground. Speaking of the different ingredients.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they had to. There's not. It's it's over.
Oh
It's
no.
unfortunate. Yeah, it was. It was. I was going to tell you this, but anyways, that stuff was amazing. It was. One of the guys worked at SpaceX, and it was one part of the foam that they used to build the rockets with. And
Wow.
then, what had happened is the people that were producing the foam were like, oh, we can sell this foam to aerospace, and for the amount we sell for one blank, we could get like 40 times as much money. So it
Right.
just they were pulling, and they pulled that foam. The company that actually made the varial foam, they pulled the plug on any sort of sporting equipment. They were doing stuff like hockey sticks and other stuff too, but they
Oh,
pulled the plug.
wow.
Yeah, so it's
Well, it sounds
pretty
like it was
sad.
yeah.
The phone was great, and it was like cool to be a part of it. And some people really love that love boards out of that phone. So
Yeah,
that's
bummer. Well,
kind of
speaking
sad.
of innovation, you've even made boards using cardboard, which my husband Sam Archaga was actually in the video for, which is always fun to go back and look at. But where do you see the future of surfboard materials kind of going? And also, how'd you come up with the cardboard idea?
Well, what was pretty cool is I got these good friends of mine that they do signal snowboards,
Mhm.
and one of the guy's neighbor was some kind of cardboard guru. Card has does all kinds of stuff with cardboard, huge cardboard company. And so he and they he his neighbor talked to him because the Signal Snowboard guy, Mark and Dave, they were super creative, and they come up with this every third Thursday thing and come up with a new, way to market their snowboards. And the cardboard guy, his neighbor, goes like, oh, I want you to take over, like do that for cardboard.
Oh,
And they're all, whoa, okay. And so they've tried to make all kinds of stuff out of cardboard. Like they made guitars, they made
what?
snowboards, of course. They made what else did they make? They made all kinds of stuff. They made a full drums. They made every kind of instrument out of
What?
cardboard, and then had guys jamming, and we did the cardboard surfboard.
Yeah.
Sam actually was pretty awesome to. I mean, that board wasn't easy to ride, but Sam made it look like it worked. It was
Ah, he'll
pretty
be
cool.
happy to hear that. How
Yeah,
did so? How did the like dynamics of that work? Because it's like for listeners who haven't seen the board, it's like a bunch of holes almost made of
yeah, it
cardboard.
was tricky to do. It was tricky to do. We got the piece of cardboard, and it was kind of hex cardboard, I
Mhm.
guess, and we actually put it on my shaping machine and tried to shape the cardboard. that was kind of weird, but we kind of did it. Actually kind of got it shaped and kind of got it to look the way it was supposed to look. And then to glass it, what we had to do is like, I had a sheet of paper, butcher paper, where we wet out the fiberglass, and then everybody grabbed a corner. We walked over to the cardboard board and draped the wet
Oh,
fiberglass over, and it went off, and kind of worked. It kind of worked.
yeah. That's so cool. There's so much physics that go into it. Like, what inspires you when you're coming up with new shapes?
A lot of the new shapes are working with people. Working
Mm.
with people that, oh, I like this board, but I need something to do this, and that's how all my new shapes pretty much come from people, from some, either a really good surfer, team rider stuff, and just trying things, and then some things and end up never really panning out, and then other things end up being really good. And I mean, I have a lot of like in my files of all the boards I make, I have so many like pro models for guys that just aren't. They're not pros, but
Uh-huh.
they're a pro because they have their own model. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
So
that kind of brings me into the unidentified surfing object that you made in collaboration with Donovan Frankenreiter. Can you talk a bit about that?
yeah, that's kind of funny. We Donovan came to me and said, "Okay, I want you to make a board with no fin." This is way back before the whole finless thing that happened.
Mhm.
I don't know, 10 years ago. This was, I don't know, super long time ago, 20 years ago. I don't know, 5 years before anyone else was tried to do
Wow.
a finless thing. But and I'm okay. I always thought about doing something like that. And so what I did was I had 3 blanks glued together. And what I did was, instead of adding a fin, I just shaped a giant hole. So it was almost like the fin was sort of more shaped into it. It's just
Uh-huh.
2 giant concaves with
Oh.
and the thing in the middle. And it ended up being, I mean, I still got one. I have one at my shop. And I bust it out every once in a while. Like Stab Magazine did this thing when they were during the U.S. Open, and they had it was cool because they had some, pro surfers ride some of my models. And that was one that I gave those guys. And one of the guys surfed it pretty good.
Dang, is it harder to surf than a normal board?
It's tricky. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. You when you take off, you got to kind of not try to do too much. Just get it going, and once you get going, the more you ride, the more you can open it up, and then once you get a little groove going and a little bit of flow, it works pretty good.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Well,
Donovan was awesome on it, actually.
yeah. So yeah, for listeners who don't know, he was a famous surfer.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was incredible surfer, and then he always played music, and he had a love for music, and now, I mean, now he was an incredible surfer that was probably wanted to be a musician, magician, not magician,
Musician.
musician. There we
Yeah.
go. And now he's a musician that surfs incredibly well.
That's cool.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he's
well, you mentioned a bit about your team. So when did you start sponsoring athletes?
Yeah, my first guy that like actually, whoa, you mean I'm supposed to make a board for a guy for free? It was like, what? The first guy I did was his name was Mark Marino, and it was like the late '90s. He
Mhm.
was the very first guy I did that with. What had happened is I got this I got this guy from Japan that really took a liking to my brand, and he brought my brand to Japan. And then he's all, "We need team riders," and I'm all, "Okay, well, we'll get started with this guy." And he goes, "Oh, good, because we need the team riders to pump." And I'm all, "Okay." So he was like the first guy, and then after him, we got Brad Gerlach and Donovan, and then I had a bunch of local guys too at that time. Jay Larson was one of my standout guys, and kind of a bunch of other guys back in the day that were good, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was a fun era.
Who's on your team now?
My main guy around here, he lives in Newport, Tyler Gunther.
Ah, we
He's
featured him.
I sponsored him since he was, I don't know, 7 or something. So
Oh,
yeah, we've been together. Well, I don't know, because this board's forever, and he's doing pretty good on the QS. He actually got to surf for the USA and in the ISA games,
oh, wow.
and they picked him, which was really crazy because it was like all guys from the CT, and they picked him to go along too. And he actually did. It was in El Salvador, and he actually went farther than the CT guys. He went the farthest of any American in that comp. It was pretty rad.
Wow, good for him. And he was using your board.
Yeah, he was using my board.
So
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, really cool.
Well, I would love to get into a bit of like, what's the process of shaping a board? Like, what does that look like? And I feel like I would just imagine as an artist, you just get into this like flow state where time just passes by. Like that's how I feel when I'm writing. But yeah. How does that
Sure,
go?
sure. For sure that happens. Um, for the first probably 25 years, I don't know, 25 years, 30 years of my shaping career, it was pre-machine, pre-CNC machine.
Wow.
And then we did everything by hand. And there's a lot of people today that, claim, oh, hand shape, I only hand shape, hand shape boards are better. I don't know. That's where the magic is. I don't know. So, and I can shape forever. And then the machine came along, and to be able to make a file of a board, we can reproduce the board so much better than we used to try to do models, and it was really hard to replicate back then.
Yeah.
Now if someone wants I need another Pro 2, but it needs to be like gain 10 pounds. Can we make it a little thicker? Super easy. Just push the button and it can be so accurate. So that's the beauty of, designing on the computer. And then also that's kind of where I'll put 2 designs together. I'll take, this guy a lot of guys. It's funny because guys will go, I want to mash up. When I was shaping in France just this spring, this guy came to me who's sort of was my French team rider forever, still rips. He's like he was Masters. He won the Masters in France just on my boards this year. Crazy.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. He came to me and he goes, let's do I want to do a new toy with a V12 flying turtle. And I'm all, whoa, that's far out. I go, let's try it. And I did it, and he actually really liked the board. So
that's so cool. Yeah, I would imagine how much time does it take to hand shape a board, and how much time does it take to like do it on the machine?
Yeah, I mean, it takes definitely more time to hand shape, and then people go, hand shape is like this or hand shape's that. You start out with a big chunk of foam, and you got to get it down to basically to the shape, and then you really start to shape it. So I tell people, I could walk to New York. It'd be rad. I would see a lot. It'd be pretty cool. I'd be kind of tired when I got there. I would have seen a lot, but I would have got to New York. Or I can get on a plane and fly to New York and get to New York and feel, okay, I'm in New York. I feel pretty good. Like, I'm not tired. Like, let's get it on. That's kind of the way I see it. It's like there's a lot of you're just taking passes back and forth, getting with the planer, blowing foam everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you get to the shape, and then you shape it. A cut still gets shaped. Like these cuts that come off the CNC machine, a shaper still puts their hands on it. They still give it all the important parts.
Yeah.
Like if you're hand shaping the whole board, by the time you get to the really important stuff, maybe you're kind of burnt out unless you're only doing one board a day.
Right.
But like if you're trying to do a fair amount of boards, you have the energy when the thing gets down to where it really matters what you're doing.
Right.
So that's my take on it. There, you could talk to a hand shaper, and he would probably completely disagree with me.
No, what you're saying makes complete sense.
Yeah. Okay. I think so.
Yeah, I think I can like compare it to like when I'm like writing for the magazine, like if I'm doing a bunch of articles in a day, my brain gets like burnt out, and it's not as quality as if I just took a break, walked away from it, and did another one the next day or something like that. So I can only imagine it's art at the end of the day.
Yes, and it's still the person design the shaper built the file,
Right.
so still from his mind, and the original concept is his. So to me, it's still a valid, unique piece of sculpted equipment, whether it was designed and cut or somebody did it by hand.
Yeah, definitely.
I could say for sure if someone wanted to reproduce that board and make it like a lot bigger, and then like one for a little kid, that the machine guy is going to do a better job.
Yeah, totally.
I would. Yeah.
Well, speaking of boards, what should customers take into consideration when they're purchasing a new one?
I think that there's lots of options.
Mm-hmm.
So many options. It's like, I feel like the people that I've been making boards for a while, they really cherish and appreciate the relationship, the surfer shaper relationship. Like Sam, Sam, oh, I want this. I mean, I made him a twin pin, and I was making him kind of bigger always. And he goes, oh, I want to go 5'6" or something. And I'm all, wow, that's like, didn't even think about doing one that short. And then I did a lot of thinking about it, because that wasn't the intended size kind of for that model and the way I designed it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought about it a lot, and then I built it on the computer, and I was looking at it, and the thing looks like it. I have no reason to say no to this. And he goes, and that's what you want. And then it ended up being a great board. And I learned that, that board could be, I was thinking it was kind of like a mid 6 foot board, kind of like a mid length, kind of like not a short board, but not too big.
Uh-huh.
I found out that board could go from 5'6" to 8'6", and it works in every size.
No way.
Pretty
Do
cool.
you have I'm sure this is like asking you about a favorite child, but do you have a favorite board you've made?
Well, I have what I like.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I like the variety.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like. I would sort of hate it if I was just the standard high performance. We have 6 models, and they're all super high performance, and they're all kind of look exactly the same, and just doing those over and over again would be. I mean, it would be. I would do it, and I'd be happy to have the work. But I like the variety.
Yeah,
it's fun to do like a little fish, and then a big guy board, and then some cool new twin fin channel bottom thing. I like to mix it up. I like to have different things to do.
Yeah.
It's more fun for me.
Yeah. I'm going to embarrass Sam really quick, but I remember when he moved to Huntington from Downey, and he met Rachel, and he was like, your dad is Doc? Like, so he's a huge fan.
That's funny. Well, yeah, he's been fun to make boards for.
I'm glad.
I feel like now he's more of a runner than he's a surfer.
He is. Yeah, he really is. Well,
he needs to not forget his surfing roots.
I know.
Tell him Doc said that.
I will. Well, is there anything that listeners should keep an eye out for? Like, do you have anything coming up or anything exciting? Any competitions that your team's going to be in, or?
There's always like QSs that Tyler does, mm-hmm. comp wise, and I just feel like surfing. What's great about surfing is it could be a million different things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of stuff can't be a million different things. Like tennis. Tennis is tennis.
Yeah.
That's tennis. And you need a partner to play it. And you need a court. You need ball. Surfing, all you need is a board and then, a wetsuit or something. So if it's cold, but
yeah,
you need a board, and you can do it by yourself, and it can be anything you need it to be or you want it to be. And it's something you can do for a long time. Like I have a lot of older guys I'm an older guy. So I have to deal with myself, trying to keep myself stoked. And surfing's hard when you get older.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys quit. And I'm not going to quit. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna kind of adjust my expectations of myself, and also get a board that's right for me. So I'm pretty good at like checking out older guys and like helping them get stoked on surfing, because like if they, as people get older, they, after kids and stuff, they don't get to surf when the waves are good, and they maybe put on a few pounds, and then the board doesn't float them and they have a hard time. I have the cures for all those things.
Yeah.
So
You
that's
got the
kind of,
prescriptions.
yeah, there you go. Like I'm pretty good at that. And then I'm also, if you're young and you're getting better every session, which I love that. And then I'm a lot of young people, that's where they're at. They get better every time they surf. They need a board. They need their boards to be able to give them the ability to get better. So
Yeah.
their boards are constantly advancing, more sleek, more foiled out, more performance. And then some of the older guys, we got to go the other way. So it's, I that's the whole know surfer shaper relationship thing that I was talking about, that if you just buy off the rack or get something online or something, you don't really get that. You don't really get to talk
Yeah.
to her. And you should, if you are going to get a custom board, go to the shaper, bring your board to the shaper, so he sees what you're on. Talk about the board. Like, that's the best way to get a good board that's good. You're gonna go to your next level.
Yeah.
Like
That's
I
smart.
tell people, like, oh, I want to get a board. Well, come in and like bring what you're riding and tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like about it. What do you think will make it better? And it usually works.
Yeah. Well, we're coming to the end of our time, but before I let you go, I have 3 final questions for you that we call the Thoughtful 3. So, first of all, have there been at any points in your career where you've struggled with self-doubt? And if so, how did you work through it?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's for sure. But I don't know. I'll go surfing. If I'm like, what's
Yeah.
going on? I'll just go for a surf and like wash it all off and get away from the phone and just like get with nature and come back in and okay, need to do push the reset and don't get too far. Just stay in the moment.
Yeah.
Don't start tripping too hard about what's going to happen next, whenever, and
Hmm.
just be stoked. Like I got some boards to do today. I'm going to do these boards. Stoked about it. I'm going to do because it doesn't really matter if you have 5 orders or if you have 1,000 orders. What matters is the board that you're shaping at that day, at that moment.
Yeah.
When that not even that moment, not that day, but even that moment, the board that's on your rack is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
You're only as good as the last board you shaped. So you
Yeah.
could you could be sort of overwhelmed and not give the attention to the board that's on your rack that you really should be. So don't overthink too much and just be stoked on what you got.
I love that. Well, what moments in your career have shaped who you are today? It's a
Hmm.
hard one. It's a big one.
Yeah. Well, it's been like I didn't get into this thing thinking that, oh, I'm gonna make. I didn't even know that I would be making surfboards. I mean, it was a passion and I loved doing it. But when I first started doing them, I was just doing them for myself. And then this, I don't know, just out of the blue, this guy goes, "Oh, your boards are looking good. I want you to make me one." And I just was shocked. What? Like, you want me to make you a board? Really? And I was shocked. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a shaper and I'm going to be this guy. It wasn't like that at all. I was just like, wow, okay. And then I did one, and then he would bring a guy. And then so that's how my thing was been very organic. Like
Yeah.
tried to be, I never really tried to be, I guess, what I ended up being. It just
Yeah.
happened organically. And I don't know, I must be pretty good at what I do. I wouldn't be doing it still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm fortunate that it happened the way it did. And I still have a passion for it. I love it. Like if I got crazy rich, hit some crazy lotto thing or something,
Yeah.
I'll probably get up and do the same thing. Go for a surf and then go to my little factory and do some shaping.
Yeah. They say like, do what
Change my
you
life.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
They say like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That
Yeah,
feels
right.
very
And
fitting. Yeah.
oh, when are you going to retire? And I go, I don't know. Retire from what? Like, what would I do if I retired? Like watch TV or something, or take up golf? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't do either of those things. Probably. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I could start golfing. I don't know, but I don't know. I feel like I feel very blessed and fortunate to be able to do what I do.
Yeah, definitely. Well, lastly, what advice do you have for artists when they're feeling stuck or not inspired to create?
Walk away from it for a little while. Like just get out in nature. Just go ride a bike, go for a hike, walk on the beach, go for a surf if you surf, and just don't stop overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can do that. We can sort of be our own worst enemies. I think the best thing is to do is like go move your body, get going, just keep going, just keep going, and maybe let it go that day. Get up again the next day, and okay, tomorrow's a new day. Let's start fresh. Say a prayer.
Yeah.
Let's go. Don't give up.
Awesome.
Don't give up. And everyone for sure. Everyone looks at everyone else thinking, oh, that person's got it all together. They never have a bad day in their life. Look at his life. Blah, blah, blah. Guaranteed that person might be looking at you, maybe even going, oh, that dude's got it together. Like that's all he's got to do. Oh, shoot, he's got it together. So don't be too hard on yourself, and take a break. Get some air. Get some exercise.
Yeah, it's crazy how much that really does help when you're at a roadblock with that creativity. Yeah.
I think exercise, or just doing something like I found yoga pretty late in my life, but that helps me a lot. Like I'm super into that. I do it like a few times a week.
Oh, nice.
And then surfing too. And then like I like getting on the bike too, and riding on the bike. And then like my wife's a super walker, and I kind of got into walking even. So
yeah,
it's cool. It's good. It's just you got to keep moving, especially as you get older. Super important to keep moving.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I had so much fun getting to talk with you. You have such an incredible career.
Yeah, cool. It was. You did a great job. It was awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.